everyone. It's Amina Jaman, Art Director of International Filmmaker Festival of New York. This is a Jubilee 10th edition of IFFNY. It's online, it's incredible, it's huge, and the audience is wide. We have 6 categories: feature films, short films, feature documentaries, short documentaries, music videos, and animation. Isn't that incredible? It is. And I have an incredible musician waiting for me, and I will interview him very soon. His name is Phil Good. Phil, where are you? I'm waiting for you. He's a brilliant pianist and an incredible performer. Can't wait to see him. Phil, please join this IG Live and I will see you. I will be able to add you. So while we are waiting for Phil, I want to say that his music video, Beautiful Wounds, was directed by Sarah Scherer, and I just interviewed her. A beautiful and brilliant. Hi Phil. Yes, stay here. Let me send you an invite. Yes, Phil, I hope we will make it this time. Phil, good.
Hey,
Phil,
hey,
at
man.
last we made it.
Yeah, I couldn't. It's funny, on the computer it's ended, but then I've joined on the phone. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can hear you clearly. Thanks for
All right.
joining. It's an honor to have a
Well, thank you
musician.
very much.
Yeah, to have a
Sorry about the
musician like
state.
you.
I'm just holding the phone here. I need something to
Yes.
put it on. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, how else? I talk to outstanding people one after another. I feel fantastic. I just talked to Sarah Sher, director of your music video. It's
Yeah, she's
absolutely
wonderful.
incredible. It's
Yeah.
a masterpiece, it's higher than just a music video. It's art, in my opinion.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
Let me just put this on a stand so I can talk to you like it, properly without me moving the phone around.
yes,
Sorry.
and make it vertical so that we can
Yeah.
see you better. Yeah, like this. Okay?
Right,
Yes. So
I'll move
please
back
tell
a
me,
bit.
when did you write this beautiful song, Beautiful Wounds?
Well, I think that the lyrics have been around for a while because of you know austerity and the crash, and I don't know, just the idea. I remember going for a fantastic walk through the Tate Gallery in London with a friend who's very knowledgeable about art, and he was telling me about Francis Bacon, how he would use this allegory of cuts in meat to sort of kind of show like the damage that's done to human beings, and he said, I'm sure he now says he doesn't remember saying it, but I'm sure he said to me the concept of beautiful wounds. I mean, that's how I heard it. He might have said something else, but then I just was really intrigued by that idea. And of course, we know so much of the art that we love and that we've been inspired by comes from adversity or even tragedy. That people write from sometimes a very dark place, but they turn it into an incredible, beautiful piece of music or a painting or a play or a script or a film or something like that. I mean, Billy, Sarah was talking about Billie Holiday just now. Of course, that beautiful voice, but you know where that voice comes from. It's a very dark childhood, it's very dark history that she had growing up. It was awful what happened to her. But what does she do with that pain? She turned it into one of the most unique kind of vocal expressions in human history. That's how I see her voice. So it's that idea, how the song is about that thing that human beings are really, really good at sometimes, which is turning negatives into positives. Making something beautiful out of something that's not great, or
Yeah.
bad. That's
Yeah,
it.
so you express your experience through the work of art. And
Yeah.
you did it excellently well. I really loved the composition, the lyrics, the way it's performed. Such a beautiful singer, Diane, right?
Deanna Winter. She's a
Winter.
Italian friend of mine. She's from well, she grew up in Florence, who now lives in Rome. So I work in Rome a little bit before lockdown. Anyway, I was working in Rome quite a bit. So yeah, I just love her vibe, and she's a groove singer, but she's got this sort of energy. And what I love about that vocal is that we did it very, in 30 minutes, because we were working in London on some tracks, and right, we're going to go to the airport. Can you sing this for me? And she sang it she sang like one take of the lead vocal, then did a harmony, and then right off to the airport. And so it's kind of like I like that kind of thing, because I can take a long time over making music, I can do it over and over again. But sometimes I really, it's really great to be able to just do things spontaneously and get an energy into the performance like that. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I mean, that's what happens when you work with professionals, with outstanding singers, with incredible songwriters. They know what they want, and if you pick the right singer, I mean, the singer performs it so well, and I just want to underline how deep was Diane Winter's performance. I really loved the song, the way she performed it. It touched my heart, and I mean, I'm like, oh, I love the music, I love the video, I love the piano, especially the piano, the ballad. It's a beautiful ballad and written by you. And actually, it also reminded me the style of Elton John. He also has different ballads, also beautiful. And when you hear the piano clearly, when it's the real music, it's not
Well,
just
my
like
harmony comes from a similar place to Elton John, really, because he comes from church music. He comes from gospel and hymns and that kind of church harmony that found its way into pop music from gospel. Like songwriters like Paul Simon and Elton John, they use hymn chords, as their first inversions, all those chords. Like you listen to Bridge Over Troubled Water, those are chords right out of the gospel hymn tradition, church music tradition. So I studied classical music, so I learned all my harmony from this. I've got a book somewhere. It's all the hymns. So
wow.
the intro is like a hymn, really, and
Yeah.
I like that.
I felt it. I felt it. I heard it.
There's something in that music, something in those chords that is so historic, or it's so in us. It's been in our blood for so long that it conjures up all sorts of emotions even before you say a single word. And whether it's definite church music or the music of Bach or something like that, you have the songwriting of Paul Simon or Joni Mitchell. These songwriters inhabit those chords that music, and I think it really just comes, and then you figure out that really fits this lyric or something. You realize that those words really fit that mood, and then as a songwriter you're in business then.
Yes, and we have a question from Chad. How do you go about writing, knitting together your lyrics?
It's kind of interesting because sometimes it's really fast. I've written things. I mean, this lyric came really quickly. Other times it's taken years to finish something. But there's just a question whether you have a clear idea of what you're saying, and then it's about if you really know what you're trying to say, then you can do it quickly. But there is all those things involved in songwriting, and some people do it way better than others. Obviously, we have the Dylans and the Paul Simons and the Joni Mitchells of this world who combine, the melody, they combine the idea of the song, they combine the scanning of the lyrics, they combine the poetry of the lyrics, which also involves insight, into the human condition. It's like and it's very hard to achieve any of those things, let alone all of them. So we have the great songwriters, the Leonard Cohens, those people that, achieve human insight. You just hear a line and immediately it becomes part of the culture somehow, like Patti Smith or, I don't know, I can't think of a line right now, but you just aspire to try and get somewhere close to the human condition every time you write a song. And sometimes you get a little bit there, sometimes you get quite a long way into it, other times you're just skittering over the surface and it sounds great and that's fine, But I think the opening stanza to The Boxer by Paul Simon, it's a while ago now, but and there's a lot of great songs being written since, but I still think it's the greatest stanza in pop music history. I'm just a poor boy, my story's held, that opening stanza, because that combines literature and poetry and music and rhythm everything in an incredibly beautiful way that only music can do. I mean, you can have poetry, which is incredible, and literature, and all these things, but music can do it. You get all of those things functioning together, then it becomes incredibly powerful. And you can have a really simple melody with really powerful lyrics, and or that really kind of take off, and become something wonderful.
Yeah, like Imagine by John Lennon.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
so
exactly.
simple, but the message is so strong and deep. It stays in your mind forever. You don't even need rotation of such songs. You hear it, you remember it because it touches your heart, and
Yeah,
that's it. And there are so many tracks you hear on the radio, like on TV, everywhere, like nonstop. And after rotation ends, you can't like remember it because it's not a real song. There was nothing about it to remember. Nothing deep. And usually
no,
today we hear songs with one line, and it's just it repeats, repeats, repeats. It's like, come on, where is verse? Where is chorus? It's like, or it's just one
yeah.
chorus, and that's the whole song nonstop.
Just about to run out of power, so I better put this in. It's all gone.
Yes.
Perfect. There we go. I've got power again. Yeah, I get disappointed with a lot of songwriters when they don't dig a little deeper, in what they're trying to do. Because I like the idea, if you're a songwriter, that the lyrics, the words should work on the page anyway, and then when it's combined with music, then it's really becomes very, very powerful. Because you could listen to a great song like. One of the most wonderful songs I've ever heard in my life is by Joni Mitchell, called Down. It's called Down by You, and read the lyrics, and you just follow her train of thought, and it's extraordinary because she's a very there's a lot of imagery in her writing, and there's very powerful words anyway. But that piece of music is one of the most extraordinary pieces of music I've ever heard in my life. So the combination of the two, of course, is like it's off on another planet, and. And then you can hear a really simple expression, like, say, The Cross by the Prince. It's just got a repetitive melody and two chords, A and D, or whatever it is. But it has its own power because it's just the setting, him, and the words are really, really powerful. So it's kind of you can get it right in lots of different ways, or you can get it spectacularly wrong, but I love that about words and music together, the combination, and how powerful they can be in lots of different ways. Whether the music's complex or simple, the words are complex or simple. It's a beautiful thing.
Yes, and lyrics are extremely important, just as music. It should be
Yeah.
equally great. If you want to have a hit, that will touch people's hearts. And I want to know, who is your favorite composer? Maybe Pergolesi?
Uh, a songwriter, or
Pergolesi?
a songwriter, or a music composer.
Composer.
Um, I think Steve Reich, actually. I'm really big fan of minimalist composers, like Steve Reich, Philip Glass,
Hmm.
Terry Riley. I mean, I went to classical college, so I was steeped in, Beethoven, Stravinsky, and these things. I mean, and it's incredible. Uh, Sibelius, I love Mahler. But I do love minimalist composers, and I love Steve Reich particularly. So it's
What
always
about Benjamin Britten?
well, yeah. I mean, I love the English composers. I mean, I was what was that piece of music? I mean, one of my favorite pieces of the classical music is Fantasia on a theme by Thomas Tallis that he did.
Hmm.
It was just extraordinary. And there's a certain thing about the English composers of the early 20th century where you can just hear the first few bars, and that Delius or these people like have that English. There's a sort of English tone to it, just like the same with Beethoven with that. What part of the world it comes from, or Debussy, that this is French or something. It's wonderful. What was
Yeah,
that?
you can continue the variation, right? They started, I can continue next.
Yeah,
What will happen next, right?
what was that piece that was used by in the film Dunkirk? It was Nimrod, wasn't it? Yeah, Nimrod. It was like Enigma Variations. Did you just say that? Because there was a piece that was used in the film Dunkirk. Dun,
Mm-hmm.
dun, 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 you know, and it's just, and all that Hans Zimmer did was going, dun, long note, dun, and you immediately knew what that was, you know. You immediately knew that was our guy. You were moving into Enigma Variations, but he stretched out all the notes really long, you know. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know where to be.
that's sorry, that's a
True.
great thing about music generally is the fact that there are all these notes. You know, there's a piano over here, and I can sit down and play my harmony, and then somebody else comes in and plays with a similar knowledge, and it just sounds another world. You know, and that makes it really exciting that you can take even three chords, like Peter Gabriel with Biko. With three chords, that's Peter Gabriel. You know, with Prince, with I don't know, Purple Rain or The Cross, three chords, and then that's something else. So that's a wonderful thing about music. It's about the filter of your personality, you know. So that's the
Mm-hmm.
thing that draws you in. If you love an artist, I love Peter Gabriel, and I will follow him to the moon and back, whatever he does. And it's just about the fact that, you know, there's that intelligence behind what he's doing, and there's that thoughtfulness,
Yes.
and then there's soulfulness. And you were talking, I like have that lovely conversation with Sarah just now, and you know, and she has those qualities of you just come into a room and there's somebody there with those qualities of soulfulness, intelligence, kind of really engaged with ideas. You know, you can have great conversations, and that's where we all live as artists. You know, if we consider ourselves artists, it's because we're in that world of ideas and we can connect sometimes, you know, from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just wonderful when it happens. It's just incredible. Even a conversation in a cafe in Vienna or New York with artists is one of the most enriching things I think I can have in life. You know, so
Yes.
to actually get to work with people on making music, or like with Sarah and her performers and the crew on making this video, it's just, you know, one of the most joyous days of my life. You know, because that's what I live for. That's the stuff you want. You don't want to just work alone. You know, you want to be in a room with 50 people doing some spectacular thing, and it happened that
Yes.
day.
Yeah, could you imagine that you'll have a music video with like cast and crew of a theater, right? Like you know, so huge, such a huge
No.
team.
That was an extraordinary day for me in this wonderful venue in Vienna called Reactor, which is one of the most extraordinary buildings I've ever been in. And Sarah has this relationship across boundaries in Vienna to musicians, to the youth opera and theatre, you know, in Vienna, which is massive. You know, it's a massive thing for her to direct. And she's now doing the opera in Munich, but also she's an actress, and so she cuts through all these lines in Vienna, and also in Italy and across Europe. And it's really interesting to see how she pulled that together. It's also really interesting as a songwriter sort of to stand back, because I asked her, we had discussions about her involvement, and the label had a certain budget, you know, and then she said, well, let me see what we can do. And then she went off and did this incredible thing. And I was there that day in the Reactor, but I didn't stay much behind the camera with her, with the screen, because I didn't want to get involved. I didn't want to say my piece. I wanted it to be her in thing, because it's almost like I thought about it afterwards. It's like when you write a song, or you write a script or something. When you write a street or a cafe or something like that, in your mind, when you're writing that, you might have a cafe in your mind. You're seeing a street, you're seeing a beach, you know. But when somebody's listening to that song, or you know, they're reading that book or something, their memory, their imagination conjures up another street in their mind, another cafe. They're creating another picture. And it's kind of what
Mm-hmm.
Sarah did with this video, which is the wonderful thing. She took the words on the, you know, in the song and on the page from the lyrics, and she built that from her imagination, you know. And it was just wonderful to step back. You know, when I was a lot younger, I was very controlling, and you know, it has to be a certain way, and it's got this is my idea. You've got to understand, you know, all that kind of stuff when you can be like, you know, in your 20s. But it was wonderful to be in a situation with somebody as creative as Sarah, to sit back and you know, I gave my input, but like she just created this world, and that's what you want, you know, in this world. You know, you don't want things to be formulaic, to be by numbers. You know, you want things to happen by accident, by chance, to be kind of lucky happenstance. You want serendipity to be involved, and then it's just sort of morphed into a wonderful experience and a beautiful video. Or I mean, I see it as a short film. I don't see it as a video because it has this incredible narrative, you know, and I watch it repeatedly. You
Yeah,
know,
it's like a beautiful installation, you know,
yeah,
like a performance.
yeah,
I can see it like a performance, you know, in the museums you go and see some 5-minute installations,
yeah.
and it's just a performance captured on the video, you know, with a beautiful soundtrack. So you gave your wounds and she made them beautiful, you know, on screen. How about that?
Ah, yeah. That's a wonderful description, actually, you just gave, because it's like,
Oh, seriously.
I mean, one of the great, terrible tragedies of me living in London, as for you in New York, but obviously the lockdown has meant there's been so little. I mean, as a, you know, art, you know, you can't go to galleries, you can't, you know, I go to see a lot of modern dance. My daughter works for Dance Rambert, one of the best dance companies in the world, you know, and I would often
Hmm.
get tickets, you know, are they on a performance? None of that for like over a year. And, oof, and I was going to Paris to see. She was with Hoffa Schechter before, you know. So the idea of art and is that kind of world, I've inhabited that for so long. So for you to actually say that makes me feel very happy. Like it's like that
Yes.
it has that resonance to it that makes you feel like that. It makes me feel really good.
Yeah, I hear you. I feel you, guys. And come on, even if you're at home and you can't go out and see productions, you can just watch incredible productions on YouTube, on DVDs.
Oh
Just put
yeah,
some ballet with Rodolphe Nureyev and Margot Fontaine, and you have the best thing, you know, ever, you know. And I mean, my
yeah,
favorite dancers of all time. And this is like Covent Garden, you know, at your house, right? So you can watch it, right? There are so many brilliant pieces available today, you know, for everyone in the
yeah. Of
world.
course.
And actually, Rudolph and Margot had 80, more than 80 encores in Vienna theater. Nobody ever,
Oh my God.
you know, beat that success in ballet in the history. 80 times encore, like more and more, please. You know,
Wow.
can you imagine today if you have like one or two encores after ballet or opera, you're like, oh, that's success. Nobody left to the subway or to grab a cab, you know, after the show or in the intermission. You know, if someone stays after the intermission, they consider it success today at the theater. And speaking of real success and incredible productions, I think it's,
Yeah.
you know, Frederick Ashton's ballets, you know, created for Margot and Rudolph, like Marguerite
It's
and
amazing you said that
Armand.
about Vienna because oh, this it's incredible achievements. I mean, but yeah, of course you have that online, and there's been a lot of watching everything. You know, a lot of documentaries, watching a lot of, and I think even Dance Rambert did some online work. A lot of people trying to make it work like that. You know, doing online, like Ronnie Scott's a jazz club in London doing a lot of online lockdown performances and things like that. But nothing beats the feeling of being in the room, does it? You know, and we can see the green shoots of a cultural revival recovery now. So I think we'll have access. I think my daughter's starting her first tour with Ron Bear around the UK this week. So this doing tech, you know. So that's beginning, you know. But it doesn't surprise you what you said about Vienna because it's one of the most culturally rich. And I'd love to move there. Actually, I was talking to Sarah about trying to, you know, share her apartment for a while, you know. But lockdown changed all of that. But we'll have a think about. I'll have a think about maybe trying to move there at least part time in when it can be done because it's just an incredible place. You know, like you have one of the most well-funded and well-supported arts communities in the world in that city. You know,
Mhm.
by philanthropists and the government and private. And, you know, it's just they value art to such a degree. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of that in New York, but I think London, I think the UK was lucky to get away with keeping our institutions intact, like the Albert Hall, Sadler's Wells, because there was a lot of pressure on those, you know, like National Theatre, and the government weren't
Mhm.
as supportive as they were in Europe. And so Vienna's a wonderful city, and I can imagine the appreciation of the people of Vienna have for art is quite something. And I don't know, have you been to Vienna? Have you traveled there?
Not
Have you,
yet. Hopefully,
uh,
one day I will go and stage my production there.
you must, Amina. It's a wonderful city. Or even just to go, because it's just go down to the Leopoldens, go to the top floor and just get yourself some Klimt and Sheila, for an
I mean, the
afternoon.
only place I go is the top, you never feel, that's the only like location that interests me. No, seriously, Vienna is a capital of opera. I mean, all greatest opera singers dream to perform there, and ballet dancers as well to
Yeah,
perform there. And actually, Sarah lives just as opera and ballet stars. They always travel. They always perform here, like 3 productions here, 5 there, 10 Met Opera, then Covent Garden, then like uh, somewhere else like Cologne, right? So everywhere in the world they travel. They are always on tour. You don't have a star of
yeah,
particular theater always performing in this theater only. Like it's not exclusive. So they're always traveling and performing at the best stages of the entire world. If you're like the greatest, if you're a number one opera singer, or if you're like prima ballerina. So they always
yeah.
have that kind of contacts, like a short term here, there, there, there. So that's why I understand, her schedule and her style of life.
And what's so extraordinary about these cities, these great cities like New York, London, Vienna, the great cities, the technical standard, the standard of talent is so high. Like the people that came in that day with Sarah, many from the youth opera or other people that she was working with, and the technicians, the creativity and the technical ability and talent is so high that it's just such a joy every time you're around that kind of thing. Because like you see that in London. I did some, I played a theatre piece a few years ago, and the sound people, the sound designers, the lighting, the stage. It's just the level of talent and ability at this level that we're at talking about this. It just makes it such a joy to be around these kinds of people because they're so good at what they do. And that was the great thing about that day with Sarah watched on the video was everybody in that room was just putting it together in a beautiful way and being really spontaneous. And that the schedule Sarah talked about, 15 hours in one day, was really brutal for her and the cast and crew. But bang, 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 and they did it really. They got it all done because they were so good. They were just really, really very good at what they did, and it's just a joy to be around that kind of thing. It's
Yes,
great.
and we have a question from the chat. Ed plays drums. He's asking, are you going to tour your new album, Phil?
I would love to. I mean, I think the plan is to do. I work from a studio on the Isle of Wight called Shell Abbey Studios, which is a wonderful space. And if you've not been to the Isle of Wight, I can recommend, particularly the south and the west of the island. So we're going to do a filming there at the end of June where we're going to get as many musicians as we can because the album is really, like the video, is like multinational. The album is like people recording in Paris. So I got guitar tracks done in Austin, Texas, and LA, and Cologne, Rome, Paris, and Vienna. So I have to draw people in from all over the world really to do a live performance like that. So lockdown means at the moment it's not clear, but hopefully I think that this country is opening up fully on the 21st of June. So hopefully by the end of June, we can fly everybody in from Europe and wherever else, and we can do a live performance that's filmed, and we'll screen that, and we'll put that out into the world. And then hopefully in the autumn, if things really do finally settle down, then we can talk about doing some gigs. I'd love to do it. I have a band all organized, but it's obviously, who knows? We're in that state of uncertainty at the moment, aren't we? So who knows whether there'll be another lockdown or another one? Who knows what's going to happen? But the plan is to do that later in the year, if it's possible.
Yeah, it will be possible. Even COVID is temporary. Come on, everything has
Yeah, yeah.
an end. So, someone says hi from Argentina. Hi, Argentina. And I think your music is world music. So it's
Thank you.
truly
Thank
international
you
and
very
it's a
much.
world music, and you can travel alone on your own, and wherever you have a colleague, you just perform with that colleague there, just make a schedule of your colleagues, musicians, and go there. And like minimum musicians on stage, small number of people, temporary, in the audience, and everyone can watch it online, like worldwide virtual concert. So you can start with that, and later we'll get back to
Yeah,
normal
yeah.
performances. Fingers crossed. Much love from Canada. Hi, Corey Graves says hi. Hi,
Well,
Corey. Nice one, Phil at
hi.
bass drums. That live performance would be awesome, Phil. Matt uh, Aitken, 42, says that. Are you still teaching drums, Phil? That's the question from the chat.
I don't, I don't really teach drums, but I can from time to time. I can maybe organize a Zoom or something like that, but I don't have a lot of time at the moment. But get in touch with me from the website and we'll see what we can do. I might be able to set it up to do something like that from Zoom. I did a thing, actually, just quickly about the performance. I did a thing um, at the weekend for this thing in London called the Drumathon, where drummers play for like, an hour, an hour, or like 10 hours for, 2 weekends for charities, all the, hundreds of drummers, including drummers in America. Actually, it was really, really cool. So I did an hour performance playing to my tracks. So I play to my backing track. So I'll put that online in the next days. So you'll be able to hear the tracks of me playing. That's the beginning of it, at least I'm playing drums, and then we can figure out a live situation. Yeah, but I'm very hungry to do it. And the one thing about lockdown, that's coming out of it, maybe you feel like this as well as a creative, is that my hope is that all these artists and people like yourself, and I know Sarah and people like that, have been really creative in lockdown, and they've written loads of songs and loads of scripts. They've got loads of ideas, because I've got another
Storyboard.
2 albums with me after this, and I just hope that there's a huge creative lockdown baby boom. All this, where we
Baby
have all
boy.
these great songs. That's what I hope that as an antidote to this nothingness that we found ourselves in, that we can then explode into the world with all the great art that we've created in the period. That's what I hope. Because I've been
Yes.
quite busy like that, and I know Sarah's been very busy on her scripts and writing. So that's my hope. So hopefully, but as we get into the second half of this year, you'll see, a whole explosion of art, and
Yes.
I'm sure people are desperate to get back into the theatre and support it, and to go and see live art again as well.
Especially on West End and Broadway. I mean, all artists,
Yeah,
want to perform, all musicians, singers, they want to perform for the live audience. They can't wait, and we can't wait to see new productions and even watch old productions again, I really love incredible
absolutely.
musicals,
Yeah,
The Phantom of the Opera, Andrew Lloyd Webber's, and The School of Rock, his latest musical. I really enjoyed that one when I saw it on Broadway. With kids performing, on stage, and they play instruments. It's so cool. I'm
yeah.
like, my school was like that, I would love it. Ah, Cameron here.
That's
Hi,
amazing.
Cameron. Yes. So,
Hey,
do you
Cameron,
plan
how you doing?
to shoot another music video in the future?
I do. Yeah, I talked to Sarah briefly about another song on the album and doing, but what I love about the that piece that Sarah created is that it's kind of a short film, and
Mm,
I would love it to be like we could create together something like a real short film where a piece of music that we both like that I've done could be like involved, or maybe towards the end, but it's not the whole thing, that you have actually dialogue, and you have actually a kind of story that leads up to the song. So I'm learning about the fine world of arts funding and all that stuff, trying to get my head around that kind of thing, because I would like to try and develop a budget to do something like that. I mean, we have a budget from the label, but I'd like to try and see if we can create the funds to do something really interesting with Sarah. You know, she's got so many great ideas. She's so full of ideas that we could do. I mean, even this one thing, she had a little break in Venice and found this amazing apartment in Vienna. So it's like a film set, you know. It's one of them overlooking the river, and you know, we just said, well, why could we do a video there then? You know, all we have to do is put a camera in that room, and you got a set, you know. So there's all these great ideas, and I'm really pushing to see if we can do something at the end of. I mean, the album's coming out in about a month, but at the end of lockdown, when we officially can get together to see if we can put a budget in place to do something. Yeah, because I think she's really somebody to watch, Sarah. She's on a roll now, and there's a saying in England, like, you know, she's going places, you know, and that's the real feeling I have about what she's doing now and where she's going with her career. She's got so many good ideas, so I'd love to work with her again on another piece. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's a great mix of classical music and pop music. You know, director with a background in opera and musician with a background in pop music, let's say like that, right? And it reminds me of an incredible collaboration between Montserrat Caballé and Freddie Mercury with their Barcelona hit. Barcelona.
Oh
Remember
yeah,
that one? Yeah, they
yeah,
were like the first performers who did a duet like that, you know, rock star, you know, and an
yeah,
opera star together. I heard many other duets after that, you know, trying to copy them. It wasn't great, you know, because only original stuff is great, you know. So that one was incredible. And your collaboration with Sarah reminds me of that, you know. So people of different backgrounds of art, you know, they collaborate and make something really unique. That's why I said it's more than just a
yeah,
music video for a beautiful ballad. It's a
yeah.
performance
Yeah,
screened, you know, shot on camera and can be screened as a live performance installation.
yeah.
Feel good.
Okay,
It's
that's a really good
legend.
thing. I love that idea. Yeah, I love that way of looking at it. It's really great, and I think the idea that I think you know, we all come from different. I think I can speak for Sarah, and the people that I know are involved with musically all come from a multifaceted way of thinking, not like purely rock or
Exactly.
purely this or purely that. We have and I studied classical music, you know, and I came from. You know, I was surrounded by musicians from all over the world, and people that were composition, you know, majors as well as keyboard players and drummers and things like that. So that attitude to creativity is always I'm always drawn to people that are open to the whole experience of it, rather than like, oh, I'm just a pop musician, or I just act in movies or something, you know, whatever it is, you know, that you know, you never know what you could be doing, you know. So this is why Sarah's career is so interesting, is because she's an actress and she's a performer, and all of a sudden she's doing choreography for the youth opera, and then she's going to direct the youth opera, and now she's going to direct an opera in Vienna. Or you never know, you just don't know what you're capable of as an artist until you have an opportunity, and you go, well, let's see what we can do. And you have the courage and the bravery to step up and try and do something, you know. But I think the reason why people can have the confidence to jump in, like yourself, to big projects where there's a lot involved, is because you're open to all. You've been open your whole life to the whole panoply of art. You're not just like going, I'm a heavy metal fan, you know. You're going to listen to Sibelius, you're going to listen to
Only
like Freddie
Metallica
Mercury,
and
you're going to
Pantera.
listen. You got to be open to the whole thing, and then you can express yourself in any medium. You know, I could be involved in writing music for a dance piece. I know that, you know, I could easily do that, but not easily, but I do that because I have a lot of empathy and I love that form, you know, and I'm open to it. And that's the key for me, is to be around people like that. So Hopefully Sarah and I can
Yeah,
do
and
something together again
you're
soon.
surrounded by people like that, you know, a multifaceted talent, like Sarah Scherer, director of your music video, Beautiful Wound, and you are a multi-instrumentalist. So that's why I think you get along with each other. You know, you understand, you know, that you can do more than one thing, and you can do both things equally great, you know. You studied it. It's not just a desire, a wish to try, you know, oh, let's try, why not? You know, I can direct, you know, you should study, you know, or I can act. You should study acting like for 4 years. It's not just like 2 month course and you can be like a Catherine Hepburn. No, like you should study your entire life to become a legend like Catherine
Never
Hepburn, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a constant state of becoming. Like Bob Dylan said, it's like as an artist, if you're in that state of becoming the whole time, of never arriving, then you'll be
No.
okay as an artist. You know, if you know. So somebody else said like the journey is the destination. You know, and
Yes.
I love that, the idea that there's no end point to any of this. You know, you're not going to ever arrive anywhere. It's like you have these points along the way where things happen, where something sort of pops up, and you think that's really cool. But then it's kind of receding by, you know, and then you look to the next thing, and it's that journey that you're on. It's great, and I think we're all blessed that anybody that's close to the arts or making music or dance pieces or writing scripts or anything like that is in an incredible. If you can make a life in that, you're in one of the most blessed positions there can be in life, because you're just constantly around interesting ideas and interesting people, you know, and it's not easy some of the time. I mean, I'm sure you know, to get things made, to get things into to become real, can be a huge struggle sometimes, whether it's
It's
a
hell
musical or a play
on
or
earth.
a band.
Hell on earth, you know.
Yeah,
Uh,
but that's the
you
bit
know,
that's not
William
joyous. You know?
Shakespeare said, "Hell is empty. All the devils are here." So that's what I feel when I go to the set. So, and
That's
also you
great. I love
reminded
that.
me,
I'm going to use
uh,
that.
yeah, you reminded me, George Bernard's shows, saying, you know, his quote. He said, uh, about a state of continual becoming with a goal in front and not behind. So that's what I wish you, to have a state of
Yeah.
continual becoming with a goal in front and not behind. And I congratulate you, you know, on selection at International Filmmaker Festival of New York. A music video by Sarah Scherer,
Thank you.
directed by her, and your song, incredible song, Beautiful Wounds, beautiful song, performed by beautiful Diane Winter, and it's in competition of IFFNY, and we have a Jubilee edition. And thank you so much
Thank you.
for this wonderful conversation. It was my pleasure, and I can't wait to listen to your new album and see you
Thank you,
live
Amina.
performing on stage.
Thank
I'll
you
be the
very
one
much. It's
screaming,
lovely to talk to
"Bravo!"
you.
You'll hear me from the crowd.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Take
and
care
thanks
this
to
afternoon. It's so
everyone.
nice to talk to you.
Yes, same here. Stay
Thank you
tuned,
very much.
keep in touch, and best of luck. Bye.
And good
This
luck with
was
the rest of
Phil.
the day, the conversations. Take care.
Yes, yes, I have more IG Live, so join and watch it. Oh, thanks, Matt.
Oh,
Thanks.
well.
Thank you for the interview. Thanks. Take care. All the best. That's from the chat. Yeah. Corey Graves. Yeah, Corey. So, great stuff, guys. Hey, Stevenson. Yes. Thanks to everyone. This live was incredible. I truly enjoyed it. I'm so glad that we finally made it. You know, we had some technical issues, but now
Yeah, I
we've talked.
appreciate you trying.
Yes. Never-ending inspiration and constant
I
success
appreciate
to
it
you,
so much,
Phil.
Amina. Thanks. We made it. Thanks very much.
Yes, thank you. Bye.
Yeah, you too, Amina. Look after yourself and good luck for the future.